Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I am your host, Sergeant John Perrine, Public Information Officer from the Indianapolis District with the State Police. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. You're seeing us from a different angle today if you're watching us on YouTube. That's because our good friend Tom Trial has taken some time off work, and we can't wait to get him back because he does our big video productions and makes us look so much better than we actually do. But for now, this is what we get, and we have two fantastic guests with us from Bolt for the Heart, Mr. Pierre Twer. Pierre, thanks for coming.
Thank you, John.
And our good friend, longtime partner of the State Police, and with the Cardiac Science AED company, Troy Flugner.
Yes,
Flugner.
correct.
Yeah, see, gosh, I knew I was going to butcher
No,
that.
it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
So thanks so much for coming on, guys.
Sure.
And you guys do so much for the law enforcement community. Life-saving work. I mean, without question, there's data to support it. But you guys have a big event coming up, Thanksgiving Day every year, the 8th one, right?
That's correct, 8th annual.
The Bolt for the Heart 5K. Tell people a little bit about that.
Well, it's something we started 8 years ago, and it started from a small 5K run in Carmel, and it's kind of grown into a multiple thousand-person family tradition. And we take all the proceeds from that event, 100% of the proceeds, and we turn around and buy external defibrillators from Troy and Cardiac Science and put them in first responder cars.
What an awesome partnership you guys have with Cardiac Science. So Troy, tell us where it all starts with Cardiac Science, and why is it so important for you to partner with people like Pierre?
Oh, it's been the highlight of my career to work for Bolt, work with Bolt, and serve the state police. We know law enforcement's first on scene for cardiac emergencies and 911 calls in general, and we know if they're armed with the right tools, they can do the job, and particularly in cardiac arrest situations, a law enforcement officer armed with an AED is going to save lives. So time is critical, and our mission is to support Bolt and to get an AED in every cruiser in the state of Indiana.
And you guys were successful with that with the state police, right?
Yeah.
And so how many AEDs have you purchased for the Indiana State Police?
465.
Wow. And then there are now success stories that are coming out all the time about the use of these things.
Right. The percentages of success go way up when the officer has an AED, and like Troy said, they're usually the first people to respond to an incident. So with an AED, success rate goes pretty high.
Yeah, and again, people wonder why, because the medics have this equipment, but we're already mobile.
Right.
We're spread out throughout the entire state, county, city, wherever you are as law enforcement. A lot of times we're the first on the scene. And what a helpless feeling it is when all you can do is CPR. I don't want to say all you can do like we're downplaying. If that's all you got, that's all you got.
That's all you got, right?
But man, if you've got a tool in your car that you can hook up and probably save this person's life, man, what a great feeling that is.
To your point, CPR is very important. I mean, it's critical, and good CPR is important. But then you couple that with an AED, and that's just a higher rate of success.
Yeah. So Troy, tell us some of the success stories that you've heard. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we have some local, national, and you've been there. I mean, so even younger people, kids, are getting saved by these things.
Yeah, it's crazy. Over the course of my career at 11 years and at the hands of officers, I think we've calculated about 50% of the saves that I'm aware of, just one manufacturer, one person, have come from law enforcement because they're there first.
Wow.
And for me, it's one was a good friend, family friend for 30 years that was saved, and an officer. He was saved by his fellow deputies up in St. Joe County, Regis Timmons, who's since retired, but we've Jeff Lutzinger's another save out of Carmel, who's done a lot of great things with Bolt for the Heart and advocacy and speeches out there talking about his story. He was just running, had no previous conditions, just running in his neighborhood, collapsed cardiac arrest, was Good Samaritan named Bill Schleiss came up, did CPR, and a Carmel officer showed up with one of the AEDs that Pierre and I had helped place and saved his life. Countless stories with the state police. My favorite one is the one from Evansville last year, which, time is muscle, as we said. If an officer can get there first, was out on Lloyd Expressway, and a gentleman from out of town had a cardiac arrest in his vehicle, and the chain of survival says you call 911 first, you start CPR, you get an AED. Well, it happened so quickly, and the gentleman was in the passenger seat, rolled out of the passenger seat, unconscious. There was a trooper about 6 cars back that had one of the AEDs and grabbed it, they didn't even have a chance to call 911 before he got there, attached the AEDs over one shock, and the gentleman was awake and breathing by the time the ambulance came.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't happen without the courage of the officer, the culture that's been created, particularly with the state police, that you've been a huge part of, and Superintendent Carter, and Dave Burson, and Rich, and there's so many names that have been part of that. But it's truly a life-saving initiative that's saving lives every day. So
So I'll give you both a chance to answer this question, because I can't imagine, you probably can't describe the emotion or the feeling, but kind of tell people, when you hear that somebody's life was saved based on a tool that you took part in putting in the right place at the right time, what's that feel like?
Well, I can tell you, if you just go to our website, we've captured the story from Jeff Utzinger, and just a young, healthy 40-year-old guy running through his neighborhood.
Yeah.
And all the pieces fell in place. The officer was mobile, had the AED in the car. The first responder was a neighbor of his doing CPR. We get stories back like that, and it's classic what you're supposed to do in that situation. And the result is Jeff is still with us and still is a husband and father.
Yeah.
Three beautiful kids,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Beautiful wife, family, and he's here because of Bill. He's here because of that officer, and he had the right tool.
Yeah, and the tool is key. Again, I mean, we can never say what would have happened if there wasn't an AED there, but we know that the AED worked,
Right.
and that's what we're focusing on. And so, it's so important that these tools are out there. We have listeners from across the state, and including police officers. What if you're a small rural police department in one of the corners of Indiana, and you just don't have the budget to buy one of these things? What do you suggest? How do they start? I mean, can they contact Bolt for the Heart and say, hey, we need some help with this, and you can give them some resources?
Absolutely. And from our work with the state police that initially Superintendent Carter wanted to place AEDs in the rural counties.
Yeah.
But we also have sheriff's departments and local police departments too. And that's where we've kind of changed our focus here for this year, is that we're going to go to all the sheriff's departments in the state of Indiana. And what do we have now? Probably 7 counties already completed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Wow.
at least 85 more counties left. So we're focusing on putting AEDs in rural sheriff vehicles out there, because they're the first ones to respond typically.
And Troy, what do you suggest for maybe not law enforcement? Let's think outside that box for a little bit. A community that says we want an AED at our park. What resource? But they don't have the money. What resources are out there for a community that says, hey, we want one of these things? How do we fundraise for it?
Right. There's a number of grants and organizations that have been very generous, and locally, I look at the hospitals, which again, Bolt for the Heart the initiative is to create partnerships and provide those resources, specifically for our home state, right, of Indiana. And Bolt's the first resource, I would say, to go to, and they can partner with local community foundations, different organizations that can help place that AED and fund it as well. So there's just too many to name of how many have really stepped up to the plate to help organizations like that and the state police.
John, if I may, Indiana University Health and Franciscan Health have both been very supportive of us in different pockets of the state. But one thing we started this year too is called Hometown Heroes. And it's on our website. And what Hometown Heroes is an opportunity for a local business in that community to buy an AED for that community. And then that AED gets placed in that police officer's car. And we put a little sticker on the back of the car that says that an AED has been placed in this vehicle, the compliments of that person's company.
Yeah.
So it's a recognition, it's an awareness, and it's something a local business can supply.
And I'm kind of shocked at how affordable they really are. So people might be surprised. I mean, you don't have to raise $5,000 or $10,000 to buy an AED. They're really quite affordable, especially when you reach out to resources like you guys.
Right,
I mean,
they are.
If somebody calls you, Troy, and says, I want one and this is all the money I have, I'm sure you can figure something out for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it's about. It's saving lives.
It is.
So I don't want people to think when we talk about fundraising that you've got to raise big money. I mean, I don't have any idea, but if you could probably raise $1,500, $2,000, you could probably be in the ballpark.
You're right.
And so
certainly.
that's where you need to be. I mean, so it's really a business out there. It might say, hey, I want to buy one for my local park. You contact Troy at Cardiac Science, you contact Bolt for the Heart, and they'll get you one.
That's right.
And so again, it's not something you can just go to the store and buy. But it seems like the Cardiac Science is the one that I see out there everywhere. So.
And that's where we want to go with this. Ultimately, is the state police are taken care of. We want to get the sheriffs taken care of, and then through the sheriff's departments, we can pull in the local police departments. In my home county, LaPorte County, John Boyd, the sheriff in LaPorte County, has pulled in all the different local officers in different police departments, and we're working to fill that county, which is 130 that's how many they need, is 130 AEDs.
And so let's talk about the actual event, the 5K, because I love it. I'm not a runner. I don't run for fun. I don't enjoy running. I never have. But I show up. My family, my wife shows up. Our boys show up, and we make it. And we're not dying at the end of it. But man, what a fun time it really is. It just gets you up and going. And on Thanksgiving morning, it's a community feeling. You see people cheering along the way, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it's grown into a family tradition for many people. It sounds like it's the same for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're humbled by the support of the community. It's gone from 41 in the first year to well over 3,000 last year, and we're on track to possibly hit 4,000 this year. So
yeah, and it's not very expensive. What did I see? $30 a person.
$30 a person,
and that includes a T-shirt.
You T-shirt, and you also get a finisher's medal.
So for $30, you can hardly go to the store and buy a T-shirt for $30, right?
Truth.
But for $30, you're gonna contribute to hundreds of AEDs being purchased. Am I right?
Yeah. Your $30, 100% goes to buying AEDs.
100%. I mean, there's no fees, right? I mean, that's what's great about this. I mean,
the fees are built in by our sponsors that have backed us. So you do a family of four for $30 a piece, and it's all going towards purchase of AEDs, and it's a tax deductible contribution because we are a 501c3.
Even better. And so not only get your family out there, but if you can't run and you want to sponsor somebody, hey, here's just a donation, whatever. All of the options are out there.
You can burn up to 500 calories on a 5K.
See,
that's 2 pieces of pecan pie.
That's how I justify it. That was part of my justification was if I get up and do a 5K, run, walk, whatever I do, I think, man, I can eat an extra plate tonight, right? And feel good about it.
Feel good about it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or at least be neutral.
Yeah. So it's Thanksgiving morning. It's in Carmel. Where can folks go to sign up?
It's boltfortheheart.com. We have all the registration information there. And it's right in front of the Palladium, the center green there. It starts at 9 a.m. We start promptly right at 9. It can be done by 10, be home by 10:30. So It's just a great, quick in and out, doing a good thing for the community.
Yeah, and it is. And to guarantee yourself a T-shirt, you have to sign up by
November 16th.
And then you'll pick up your packets the day before if you choose.
You can do it the day before at IU Health, North,
Yep.
the facility there, or you can do it the morning of.
Okay.
We're trying to encourage people to pick up the day before, just for the fact that we're
Sure.
getting to a size that we need to.
And I can speak how simple it is. You show up and you walk to the start-finish line and you stand there until it starts. There's no signing up here and this and signing this. It's you walk to your spot and you start.
Yeah.
And it's easy, it's marked, and so wow. Do you run it, Troy?
I do every year. Family tradition for us as well, and
kids
love it. I think I'm maybe one of the only people that didn't finish it that one year. It was super cold, but
the coldest Thanksgiving on record.
Right. Son was cold hands and decided I'm not doing this.
What surprises me is when I finish it, I'm not exhausted. You would think if I went out and tried to run 5K by myself on the country roads where I live, I would be. But for some reason, when you get in a group of people like that and everybody's kind of moving, it just kind of takes the thought of being exhausted out of it.
It does.
And John, I would encourage the listeners to look at the website as well, because we do have
boltfortheheart.com.
Exactly, but we also have a virtual option too. We can't expect everybody to come to Carmel, but if you want to do it in Fort Wayne or in Evansville or St. Joe County, you're welcome to go online and virtually sign up for it. It's $20. We send you your finisher's medal and we send you your bib, and you can run it in your community.
Oh, cool!
And just send us a picture.
Yeah, or you could get together with a group, a school or something like that.
Absolutely.
Do it. Yeah. What a great idea. And these medals, they're not some cheap little medal either. They're really nice heavy duty medals that you guys put together. So boltfortheheart.com. Thanksgiving morning, if you're not doing anything, come from wherever you are. Come to Carmel, Indiana, run this 5K and donate these life-saving devices to people. I mean, this is incredible. We've got about a minute left here, guys. What do you want folks to know, Troy, about these AEDs?
There, a lot of what we do is it's education, and there's misconceptions about AEDs that you have to be trained or you have to be a doctor or have some type of a background there.
It's dummy proof.
It is. These devices, you open them up, they'll walk you through. They even can tell you now if your chest compressions are deep enough, or they're fast enough, or too slow, or so on and so on. But they're truly easy to use. You don't have to be a doctor or any of a professional to pick one up and use one. And if more people knew that, I think the stats are if there were more access to AEDs and more people had responded to the 60% of cardiac arrests that are witnessed, it'd be about 40,000 lives saved a year.
Wow.
Which is the equivalent, respectfully, to the cure of breast cancer.
Wow, that's insane.
It is.
And as the technology evolves, I mean, it's exciting to see the lives that are going to be saved by these things. And again, let's reiterate, you don't have to be trained. If you see one of these hanging on the wall, you grab it, you open it up, and it's going to give you verbal instructions. You don't have to find an instruction sheet and read through it. It's going to tell you step by
right.
step.
Exactly right.
Thanks so much, guys, for coming
Okay.
on.
Thanks for having us.
All right.